The shrill, ugly sound of a man's voice, laced with something truly venomous, sliced through the usual hum of the superstore. It hit me before I even rounded the corner, a jarring discord in the otherwise mundane rhythm of shopping. My sister and I had split up to grab our items, a classic big box store strategy, and as I approached the checkout lanes, I knew instantly something was wrong. The target of the man's rage was a young cashier, a kind-faced guy with Down syndrome. He was patiently, if a little slowly, trying to price check an item, his brow furrowed in concentration. But the man 3 people back in line wasn't interested in patience. He was red-faced, jabbing a finger towards the cashier, his voice escalating with every word. My blood ran cold as I heard him demand, "Are you stupid? Just scan the damn thing." Now my sister, she's not one to let injustice slide, not ever. Her sense of right and wrong is etched in stone, and when she sees someone being bullied, she transforms. Before I could even register the full scope of the scene, she was there, a force of nature. Her eyes, usually sparkling with humor, had gone flat and cold as she stared down the entitled man. "Hey," she cut in, her voice low but piercing enough to silence his tirade for a moment. "You need to back off. He's just doing his job." The man, momentarily stunned by her interjection, quickly puffed himself back up. His face, already blotchy, deepened to an angry purple. "Mind your own business, lady. This idiot is holding up the whole line." And then the word. A vile, hateful slur, spat with such contempt that it hung in the air, curdling the atmosphere. It was aimed squarely at the cashier, who flinched, visibly shrinking into himself, his shoulders hunching. My sister's jaw tightened. I saw the tremor in her hands, a sign of her barely contained fury. "Listen here, pal," she bit out, stepping closer, her voice now a dangerous whisper that somehow carried further than his shouts. "You've got exactly 2 options. You can either walk away right now or you can shut your mouth and wait your turn. Your choice." The tension in the aisle was suffocating. Just then, a manager, looking harried and hearing the commotion, rushed over. "Is everything all right here?" he asked, surveying the scene, his gaze landing on the trembling cashier. My sister didn't miss a beat. "No, everything is not all right," she declared, her voice ringing with indignation. "This man is verbally abusing your employee, using slurs and making a scene." The cashier, looking utterly defeated, quietly asked the manager if he could take a break. The manager, his face paling as he understood the situation, quickly nodded and offered to take over the lane himself. I instinctively stepped between my sister and the entitled man, not sure if she was about to physically eject him from the store. He glowered, clearly not used to being challenged, especially not by 2 women. My sister, though, just stood her ground, a silent, unyielding sentinel, refusing to leave the area until she knew the cashier was safe. The manager efficiently took over the bagging, and to my surprise, the angry man, now strangely deflated, just muttered something inaudible and went through the line quietly, his bravado utterly extinguished. He probably realized he'd met his match and had an audience. Once he was gone, the cashier, who had been watching the whole exchange with wide eyes, came around the counter. He was still shaking a little, but a slow, grateful smile spread across his face as he looked at my sister. He pulled her into a surprisingly tight hug, one that was brimming with a gratitude that felt almost overwhelming. "Thank you," he whispered, his voice thick with emotion. "You have no idea, this happens all the time, but nobody ever does anything." My sister, surprisingly gentle now, put a comforting hand on his arm, talking softly to him, letting him know he wasn't alone. Another woman who had stayed behind, witnessing the whole thing, came over to express her support as well, clearly moved by the scene. A few minutes later, the manager reappeared, looking genuinely apologetic and relieved. He handed us a coupon for a future purchase and a gift card. My sister, ever practical and always thinking of others, immediately pushed the gift card back towards him. "Please," she said, "give this to the cashier. He deserves it, not us. He's the one who had to deal with that monster." The manager nodded, a look of respect on his face. It was a tough situation, raw and ugly, but watching my sister stand up for someone so vulnerable, so fearlessly, really cemented for me the power of simple courage. It showed me that one person acting with conviction can truly make a difference, turning a moment of cruelty into an unexpected beacon of kindness. And sometimes that's exactly what you need to see.
You've survived 2 Reddit roller coasters. Might as well subscribe before the third wrecks you emotionally.
You ever just want to grab a few groceries, mind your own business, and escape the daily grind without encountering a full-blown supernova of human entitlement? Yeah, me too. But life, or rather the universe, sometimes has other plans. I was at my old stomping grounds, a supermarket I used to work at, just cruising the aisles for dinner ingredients. It was a pretty chill afternoon, music playing softly, the scent of fresh bread wafting through the air. A nice lady stopped me, polite as could be, and asked if I knew where the unsalted butter was. I pointed her in the right direction, she thanked me with a smile, and we both went our merry ways. See, simple human interaction. A pleasant distraction. And then, like a storm front rolling in, came Karen. You know the type, a scowl permanently etched between her brows, an air of supreme confidence in her own correctness, and the distinct impression that everyone else is just a background character in her magnificent, frustrating life. She practically glared at me as she approached. "Excuse me," she snapped, not really excusing anything. "Where are your organic, gluten-free, free-range, ethically sourced chia seeds? I can't find them anywhere." I paused, pointing vaguely to the health food section. "They're usually over there, but I think we might be out of stock on those specific ones. I heard it was a supplier issue." Her eyes narrowed. "Out of stock? Nonsense. You need to check the back. I know you have them. I saw them last week." I sighed internally. "Ma'am, I actually don't work here anymore," I started, trying to keep my voice even. "I used to, but now I'm just shopping like you." That's when the gears in her brain seized up. "Don't work here? Don't be ridiculous. You're wearing a blue shirt, aren't you? All the staff wear blue shirts. You're just trying to be lazy and avoid helping me." My blue shirt was just, well, a blue shirt. A coincidence, but try telling that to Karen. She was absolutely convinced I was lying. I tried to walk away to just get my pasta and bread and get out of there, but she latched on. "Oh no, you don't," she declared, following me down the aisle. "You are going to check for those chia seeds right now, young man." She was like a particularly aggressive shadow, trailing me, huffing and puffing, occasionally calling out, "Are you going to do your job or not?" I just kept my head down, pushing my cart faster, wishing the floor would swallow me whole. The peaceful shopping trip was now a full-blown sprint from a self-appointed supervisor. I finally made it to the self-checkout lanes, praying she'd just lose interest or find someone else to terrorize. But no. My old manager, bless her soul, was at the customer service desk nearby, helping an elderly couple. Karen, seeing a new target, veered hard right. "Manager," she bellowed, stomping over. "Your employee here is refusing to help me. She's lying about not working here and wouldn't check for my chia seeds." My old manager, a saintly woman named Sarah, looked over, saw me awkwardly trying to scan my items, and a flicker of understanding crossed her face. "Ma'am," Sarah said calmly, "he actually doesn't work here anymore. He quit a few months ago." Karen's face went from indignant to absolutely incandescent. "He's still wearing a blue shirt. He's lying to me, and so are you. Are you going to stand there and let your ex-employee get away with this?" Her voice escalated. A full-blown shriek now echoing through the quiet store. "This is unacceptable. I demand to speak to your superior." And then she did something truly unhinged. She actually lunged at Sarah, a wild, enraged run towards the customer service desk. My manager, who had been trying to maintain her calm, looked genuinely startled, even a little scared. That was it. That was my cue. My brain registered nope. Not my circus, not my monkeys, and definitely not my problem. I abandoned my half-scanned cart, practically threw my basket aside, and power-walked, nearly sprinted out of the store. I heard Karen's enraged squawking fading behind me, mixed with Sarah's bewildered calls. I have no idea what happened after that. I didn't look back. I just got in my car, drove home, and ordered takeout. My blood pressure just couldn't handle another minute of that. So yeah, fellow Redditors, sometimes you just gotta cut your losses and make a swift exit. Because some battles aren't worth fighting, especially when they involve organic chia seeds and someone who thinks a blue shirt makes you their personal shopper. Stay safe out there, folks. and maybe double-check your shirt color before heading to the supermarket.
All right, Reddit, buckle up, because I still can't quite believe this went down. You know those days when you just want to wander a bit, minding your own business, and then bam. You're smack dab in the middle of a screaming match, accused of slacking off, and nearly getting physically dragged across a Target by a full-blown Karen. Yeah, that was my Tuesday. I'm Ethan, 21, and let's just say Target is kind of my happy place. It's always been that way. My mom worked at a Target a few blocks from my old high school, so I'd often walk there after class. Not to shop usually, just to unwind, cruise the aisles, maybe grab a cheap coffee. It was my decompression zone, the only catch. My school uniform, a maroon polo and khaki pants, was practically a dead ringer for the Target employee uniform. So, yeah, being mistaken for staff wasn't new. I'd gotten pretty good at the polite, "Oh, sorry, I don't actually work here," smile and shrug. But nothing, absolutely nothing, could have prepared me for this particular encounter. I was deep in thought, browsing the video game aisle, probably debating if I really needed another Switch game, when a shadow fell over me. I looked up to see a woman, probably in her late 40s, with a face that looked permanently set to displeased. She snapped, "Hey, you, open a checkout lane right now. The lines are ridiculous." My usual spiel was ready. I gave her my best apologetic customer service smile and said, "Oh, I'm really sorry, ma'am, but I don't actually work here. I'm just a customer." That's when her whole demeanor shifted. Her eyes narrowed, practically drilling holes into me. "Don't you lie to me," she practically shrieked, her voice suddenly much louder. "I saw you just standing there. You're wearing the uniform. You're just trying to slack off and avoid doing your job, aren't you?" My stomach dropped. This wasn't the usual mild confusion. This was hostility. I stammered, "No, really, I'm not. This is my old school uniform. I just come here to hang out sometimes." The words felt flimsy even to me. My cheeks flushed hot, and a nervous tremor started in my hands. All eyes in the vicinity felt like they were on me, judging me. Then, before I could even process what was happening, she grabbed my arm. Her grip was surprisingly strong, digging into my bicep. "Fine, if you won't open a register, then you can come with me and open the one I want," she snarled, yanking hard. Panic flared. My happy place had just become a nightmare. This wasn't just verbal anymore. She was pulling me, dragging me towards the front of the store. I tried to shake her off, mumbling, "Hey, let go of me." "You can't do that," but she was relentless, practically foaming at the mouth. "I'm going to get you fired, you hear me? You'll be lucky if you ever work retail again, you lazy little punk." The obscenities she started yelling about my character, my work ethic, and my non-existent job were just a blur of white noise against the ringing in my ears. I felt utterly helpless, a 21-year-old guy being physically assaulted by a stranger in the middle of a public store. Just when I thought I was going to be pulled clear to customer service, a blur of motion appeared. A man and a woman, probably in their 50s, stepped in. The man's hand clamped firmly over Karen's wrist, pulling her grip off my arm. "Hey. That's enough, you can't just put your hands on someone," he said, his voice calm but firm. The woman, his partner, quickly put an arm around my shoulders, shielding me a little. "Are you okay, sweetie?" she asked softly. My legs felt like jelly. I just nodded, completely shell-shocked. Other shoppers had started to notice the commotion, and soon a small crowd had gathered. An actual Target employee, then another, quickly made their way over, followed by a security guard. They took over from my saviors, creating a buffer between me and the now screaming woman. I needed air. I needed to disappear. Mumbling a shaky "thank you" to the heroic couple, I bolted for the men's room, locking myself in a stall. My hands were shaking so bad I could barely hold them still. Humiliation and a strange, cold fear washed over me. I just wanted to enjoy my quiet afternoon, and now I felt like I'd been run over by a truck. What the hell just happened? After what felt like an eternity, I finally composed myself enough to leave the bathroom. As I headed back towards the front, a new scene was unfolding. The woman was still there, but now she was surrounded by even more employees and security. Her face was contorted in fury as she tried to argue her way out of the store, with a shopping cart absolutely piled high with merchandise. And then I heard it. "I'm not paying for any of this. I'm taking what I want," she screamed, gesturing wildly at the overflowing cart. It clicked, the pieces snapped into place, her initial aggression, her immediate accusations of slacking off, her desperate attempt to assert authority. She wasn't just a Karen, she was a thief. She was trying to create a distraction, a spectacle, to cover her real intentions. Just then, I saw a familiar face pushing through the onlookers. It was my mom. Her shift had just ended at her target, and she'd come over to pick me up, as she sometimes did. Her eyes, usually warm, were wide with concern as she spotted me, then the chaos around the woman. "Ethan, what happened?" she gasped, rushing over. Before I could even explain, she saw the woman. My mom's expression changed from worry to a hardened resolve. "Oh, you again," she muttered, not to me, but glaring at the shoplifter. It turned out my mom recognized her. This wasn't her first rodeo. This woman had been a known problem, trying similar stunts at various targets in the area, including the one my mom worked at. The security guards were already on it, but my mom, armed with the knowledge of this woman's past antics and fueled by seeing her son in distress, wasn't having any of it. She started speaking calmly but clearly to the security, confirming details and reinforcing the narrative. The woman, realizing her jig was truly up, tried one last desperate lunge for the exit, cart and all, but the security guards were too quick. Other shoppers, now fully aware of the situation, were openly glaring at her, some even applauding quietly as she was finally, unceremoniously, escorted out of the store in handcuffs. After everything settled, Mom hugged me tight. The adrenaline was slowly draining, leaving me feeling hollowed out, but also incredibly relieved. My quiet afternoon at Target had been turned upside down, my peace shattered, and my personal space violated. But thanks to those two anonymous heroes, my mom, and the swift action of Target security, justice, however small, was served. It was a bizarre, frustrating, and honestly pretty terrifying experience. I'm still processing it, and my happy place definitely feels a little different now, but I'm also so grateful for the people who stepped up. You never know when a casual browse for video games will turn into a full-blown "I don't work here lady" saga, complete with physical assault and a shoplifting reveal. And that, folks, is how my chill Target day became an unforgettable Reddit story. Stay safe out there, and remember to thank your actual Target employees.
This next story is just as wild. Give it a watch.